Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hippie Who Wasn't. And my name is Greg. And today I just have a few hats to show you on my loom knitting. And just a quick update on my health. My diabetes is more and more in control. I'm still dealing with the new information of having diabetes. But I'm being proactive. Like I said before, I've already lost a couple of pounds and my blood sugar is fluctuating, but I'll get it there. And yesterday I went to the eye doctor and I have had a growth in my eye, my left eye, for about a month now. The doctor has never seen anything like it. But the growth is shrinking, but apparently I have scar tissue in that eye, so I'm not going to be getting the vision, the straight on vision in that eye ever again. I still have peripheral in my left eye, but because the scar tissue is right in front of the optic nerve, I cannot see through it. So I have no straight on vision through my left eye anymore, which is something I'm going to have to adjust to. And of course, it's affecting the vision in my right eye as my right eye adjusts, and being on medication for my diabetes, my vision in my right eye, my right eye is changing. So that is where I am now. So now that I've told you that, let me show you the hats I'm working on. There's my closet. This is the only room I can get decent lighting in, and today I'm recording late, so I have no sunlight in this room, so no decent lighting in this house. But anyway, the hat I'm working on now is for a customer, and this is it. It's on the, I can't get a good, there we go, kind of. It's a silver gray color, and it's on the 41 peg loom, and it's for her daughter whose age she never told me. So hopefully it's going to fit. But the difference is, from most of my other hats, I usually use a turn brim, but on this one I used a 1x1 rib. So I knit one, we're using the U-wrap stitch, and purled one. And of course, since it's a 41 peg loom, when I got to the end, I ended up purling too. And I've seen Denise at loomanhat.com do that a lot of times, so I'm not really worried. And then the rest of the hat is just U-wrapping. I E-wrapped the rest of the hat. And I have a total of 30 rounds on it right now, including the ribbing. I'm thinking about 5 to 10 more rounds, and I'll take it off the loom and it'll be done. So that's that one. I just realized I left a hat that I haven't finished in my den. So follow me to my den. We're going to walk to my den for a second, because this one I actually made at the eye doctor yesterday. Oh, look, the light in here is a lot better. I made this one at the eye doctor yesterday, and I took it off the loom at the eye doctor, but I still haven't finished it, so the ends are not finished in. So I'm going to tuck the end into this one so you can't see it. This one is using the Red Heart Super Saver Umber again in the True Blue. I've done this before. I did one of these in my last video. But there it is. That's the one I made yesterday sitting in the eye doctor. I really like how it turned out. And there's a story. Sitting there at the eye doctor, I'm used to see people looking at me while I'm doing my loom knitting, but I never really pay attention to it. But yesterday while I was working on this, I looked up, and after I heard some shuffling around, and there was a crowd of people watching me. And so the next thing I know, I'm holding a little impromptu class on how to loom knit. So that was pretty cool. And I told them how to do the 2x2 stitch, which is in my previous video. So if you haven't heard me talk about 2x2 stitch before, check out the video on how to do it in 2x2. But the hat I'm working on now, this one, I am using Loops and Thread Lush Alpaca in the color of silver. This is it. It's from Michael's. They're $5.99 a ball, so that was nice. And so I got 4 of those, not knowing that I'm not going to need but 1 ball for a hat And April ordered 2 hats, so I'm going to make 2 for myself. Yay. So now some hats that I used my basic pattern, which is knit 15 rounds, turn the brim, and then knit 25 rounds. The first one, though, I did on my Cindy Wood 48 peg loom, which, ow, is this one. And I took it to a craft fair I did last week. And by the way, last week's craft fair, the craft fair was a failure for everybody involved because they allowed people like Avon and real estate agents and fake nail people. And I had a chiropractor on one side of me. That is not a craft fair. Those kinds of people do not belong in a craft fair. Craft fair. So everybody that was shopping would see people like that and leave. They were not there for stuff like that. They were there for crafts, and only 2 people in the entire hallway were doing any good, and that was the lady at the very opening where you could smell her handmade soaps, and a lady that had handmade Christmas ornaments like she had done with jigsaw. But anybody that did any kind of needlework or anything like that failed. So next year, I'm going to go with a lot more than just my hats, which is probably my biggest thing. But if I don't do any good next year, I'm not going to continue with that craft fair. But anyway, this one I did with Charisma yarn, and I had to adjust it a little bit. So I did 20 rounds because the gauge on this obviously is much different than my 41 peg loom. So I did 20 rounds, turned the rib, and then did 30 rounds. And it's a much tighter stitch, and I might continue to do. The only reason I don't use that loom that much, is because of the weight of it. It bothers my wrist a little bit. So, but this is Charisma in the colorway of Willow, and I really, guys, I love how this turned out. It is flipping gorgeous. The only real problem I have with it is for the first time ever, I have a ladder in my stitches right in there. You can probably see right there. See? Have a ladder for the first time ever. I know how to avoid the ladder effect. All you have to do is just not stop at the same place every time. That's what causes that. But when I used the 41 peg loom, I never noticed the ladder. That's the first time I've ever noticed it. So next time I will have to make sure to avoid the ladder effect. The next hat I have, is in the same, all of these in Charisma, and I'm keeping the ball bands for you guys. This one is in the colorway of Cappuccino. And again, this was on these ones were on the 41 peg loom. And I really like this one. Cappuccino, I don't see it. Cappuccino to me is not got green in it. I've never seen a green cappuccino. I don't know. Maybe some of this new Starbucks is doing it. Anyway, but anyway, it kind of reminds me of the ocean with the sand and the waves and the tide and everything. I really like it. I think this will do really well, like on in an island atmosphere kind of thing. Take this out if you're doing a cool winter walk on the beach. This would be a nice hat. And then the last one I have is, again, Charisma, and the colorway of Charcoal. And I love this one. I might keep this one for myself. I love the way this turned out. I like a darker hat for my personal use, but I really love the way this one turned out. It's really pretty. So those are the 4 hats I have made, and the one that I'm working on. So guys, that's my video for the day. Here's the thing. With Christmas coming up next week, and then New Year's after that, this is going to be my last video of 2019. I will be back after New Year's on 2020, and I will be I'm going to probably just do 1 video a week, starting then. And I will also be vlogging every so often. So keep a lookout for the vlogs as well as my LoomKnit videos. I'm not going to continue with the crochet and knitting that I included in the past in 2 videos ago. I'm not going to continue with the crocheting and hand knitting. It's not conducive to my wrists. I'm not making anything that I really like. I'm going to continue with just knitting. So that's going to be a thing. I have some things I'm going to order soon to make larger projects blanket-wise. And I have a few other things I have in mind for next year. So it's going to be exciting, guys. So hit the subscribe button because I'm going to be doing a lot more. So yeah, yes I am. So anyway, guys, until next year, have a wonderful holiday season. I love you all. Please like and subscribe. And this has been Greg at the Hippie Who Wasn't. I'll see you guys in January 2020. Bye.